right, continuing now, students and administrators at top universities, along with Black Lives Matter, the Democratic Socialists of America, and practically the entire radical left industrial complex have shocked Americans by supporting terrorists who massacred more than 1,200 Jews and counting. No one should be surprised, however. I'm not. It's been long pointed out that the radical left's unsavory alphabet soup, which includes DEI, CRT, BLM, ESG, and so on and so forth, are all Marxist groups or concepts dedicated to societal destruction and not reform. Their leaders were clear about this. They said it. Elite institutions handed the keys to them for many reasons: fear, white guilt, white supremacy for crimes they had never committed, by the way. A period of collective hysteria following George Floyd's death. But they can't now claim to have been misled, can they? Here to discuss this now, this troubling shift, is Dr. Jay Green. Doctor, good to have you here.
Thanks for having me on.
Greatly appreciated. All right. How in the world did we get bogged down, and if I may be so bold, in this cesspool of DEI nonsense? I mean, seriously, diversity, equity, and inclusion have done none of those things. Your thoughts?
This has been the long march through the institutions. So former revolutionaries who failed, Bill Ayers, Angela Davis, they became professors. And when they became professors, they started recruiting students who in turn became graduate students and professors in their own right and recruited more. And eventually they've become a critical mass within higher education and spreading into K-12 so that they are teaching our children and spreading a very un-American concept that the world can be divided into oppressors and oppressed, and that the oppressors deserve the rough treatment they receive. And in recent times, we're seeing they believe that Jews receive the atrocities that they've been subjected to. And this is all the result of this kind of long march through our institution.
So why is it, Doctor? I mean, I think maybe you explained it there, but why should I confess to crimes I've never committed? Well, people that looked like you once long ago did things that they shouldn't have done. Okay. People that look like everybody have done things long ago that shouldn't have been done. Wouldn't that be the truth? I mean, the truth of the matter is human nature can sometimes be pretty ugly. But I'm not going to confess to crimes I've not committed or say, oh, look, racist babies. Really? This is what they're going with. This is how ridiculous and absurd it is. But I do feel, Doctor, that there's a change in the air. I feel like people are fed up. They've had it all the way up to here, and they're like, no. We're done with that stupidity. And you know, you go to a football game or a soccer game, everybody gets along. White, black, short, tall, big, fat, doesn't matter. In America, we get along except for those preaching hate. And DEI is preaching hate. Where am I wrong?
It's certainly preaching that people should be treated based on their group status, their identity, their racial, ethnic, and sexual identities. And this is not American. The way we've traditionally done things in America for a long time, at least we've aspired to do, is to treat people as individuals. And sure, people do wrong things, and people wrongly treat others by their group status, but we aspire not to do that. We don't teach in our highest universities that that's a good thing. We teach that when that happens, it's a bad thing, and we should aspire to treat people equally and as individuals. And I agree with you, there is a pushback. What's going on campuses right now is deeply unpopular. Donors are beginning to close their wallets and say they won't give anymore. Politicians are saying that they'll stop appropriating funds if universities don't clean up their act. And the leadership of these universities are not deeply committed ideologically to this nonsense. They're just kind of craven, ambitious people. And if they think that, you know, spouting DEI helps them get ahead, they'll do that. But if they think that's bad for their business, they'll switch. So I think we can push back and actually make significant gains in recapturing our universities.
Recapturing our society. I mean, case studies are pretty easy around here when it comes to getting too far away from the mainstream thinking and the mainstream culture of America. Bud Light comes to mind. Target comes to mind. These are companies that deviated, that wandered far away from the mainstream in America, and they have been punished dramatically, heavily, financially. And the point that you make, donors, alums closing up their wallets saying, you know what, if you're going to do that at the university, I'm not going to give you $1 million. I'm not going to give you that massive amount of money for your university, right? I mean, that's the way it works.
Yes. And I mean, it's been faster. The reckoning has been faster in business than in universities because they feel the bottom line faster. But it's coming to universities and eventually to K-12 too, where as Americans wake up and see what's going on, they're going to say, not with my tax dollars, not with my donations, and they're going to demand change. And I see it already starting, but this is going to be a long fight, only because we've let this slide for way too long before fighting back.
Well, that's right, Doctor. But the reason is, while you and I were driving to work, we're driving by the public school. There's the elementary school. There's the American flag. You wave, you smile. You think, well, they're teaching them about Abraham Lincoln and George Washington and the Mayflower, whatever they're teaching them about. We didn't realize they're teaching them to put black kids on one side of the room and white kids on the other and say you have victims and you have oppressors, and they're giving all this garbage into their heads. We didn't know that. We thought they were teaching American history, not Marxist culturalism. I'll give you the last word.
That's exactly right. We need to restore our institutions to teaching our values so that it sustains our political system. And if we don't, we're in danger of having the kind of radicalism that we see overseas come here. Our political system is not, able to withstand anything. It can be fragile, and we have to work to ensure that our values are being taught to our children so that our political system survives.
There you go. Doctor, greatly appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get back to the news after this quick break and a message from one of our friends and sponsors, Birch Gold. Last month, the G20 announced a plan to impose digital currencies and digital IDs on their respective populations. Central bank digital currencies essentially allow the government to track every purchase you make. They could even allow officials to prohibit you from purchasing certain products or easily freeze or seize, that's right, seize, part or even all of your money. In essence, it enables the government to take complete control over your finances. That sound good to you? Concerned Americans are diversifying their assets into physical gold with the help of Birch Gold Group. If you want a physical asset held in a tax-sheltered retirement account, you should call Birch Gold too. Do it. But learn for yourself. Text America to 989898, and they'll send you a free information kit on gold. The easiest way to become a Birch Gold customer? Well, if you have an IRA or 401k from a previous employer just gathering dust, Birch Gold can help you convert that into an IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Doesn't get better than that. Text America to 989898. Claim your free information kit on gold, and then call them, because if digital currency becomes a reality, it'll be nice to have some gold to fall back on. Right? Right. Now, when we come back, what makes America wonderful? We'll talk about that. Plus, the America's Voice question of the day. What are your thoughts about 2,000 U.S. troops being ordered to be ready to deploy to the Middle East?